Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. My pleasure. Wow. After such an impressive introduction. As a sum up, I'm just humbly a lawyer. Okay, a food lawyer, otherwise I would not been welcomed and invited today, but I'm just a lawyer, so all the other titles, it isn't worth mentioning all this. So I'm passionate about food law, and for about more now, 25 years, I've been accompanying and helping and trying my best to help the companies, the food business operators, in order for them to get European authorization to place their new foods, new ingredients on the European market. And we work hand in hand with scientists to get this authorization, because as a lawyer, I have only a legal background and knowledge and understanding. Now, of course, after so many years, I've become more familiar with science and techniques, concepts, but I'm still always on the regulatory part, and this is my purpose today. It's a pleasant topic, because it's a never-ending story about the nutrient profile. We have two different topics, pretty the same about the topic from the outside, outside perspective, because Chantal will explain and tell you what about the Nutri-Score, the front of pack labeling. And me personally, I would like to refresh and remind you everything about, the story, the beginning, the very beginning of the story of the nutrient profiles, which is something quite different, but at the end, maybe the European Commission will treat the two topics together. We'll see. And the end is coming soon. So what is nutrient profiles? Oops. As I always tell Charlotte, my associate who is working with me, food lawyer as well, please, first of all, go and open a dictionary, because the first definition is always a common concept, the common understanding. And it's not a joke. If you go read the rulings of the European Court of Justice, it's very important to have a very precise idea of the leverage of understanding of the man in the street. And the man in the street, to get this common knowledge and understanding, go to a dictionary and just find the common definition. So the common definition of nutrient profile, very simply, it refers to the nutrient composition of a food and or a diet. Well, nothing really wow. Nutrient profiles are related to a reference quantity of a food, which could be expressed in per portion, per volume, per weight, by weight or volume, but as well per energy. You can sometimes and quite often find an energy basis per 100 kilocal or kilojoule, which is over now. So this is a common definition of nutrient profile. We have, or we are supposed to have, a legal definition. I say we are supposed to have because we have a regulation totally dedicated to health claim, nutritional claim, and nutrient profile, which is the regulation 1924/26. So it's quite an old regulation, still running. We are all desperate about that, but it's another debate. And these nutrient profiles have their legal basis in this regulation. This regulation has a target and ambition is to regulate, to make sure that the promotion of any claim will be always to the benefit of the consumer, will not be misleading, and will be based and is based on scientific evidence. And in the reasoning of the European Commission, the first criteria should be a nutrient profiling to standardize and to define per food or per categories of food the ones which really deserve to bear some claim. In other words, the European Commission, back to 26-27, tried to avoid bad profile of foods too high in salt or too high in bad nutriments and things like that. I put my fingers on here because I don't like to spot and to try to categorize. I'm not the European Commission, neither European Food Safety Authority, but it was the spirit, the way, the purpose of the European Commission. It made sense at the time. All this framework was totally new. It was, how can I say, a sort of putting an end to the very low fat, low calorie, low everything. If you remember, at the end of the 90s, you could only find in our supermarkets produit low in something. Everything was low, but without any objective reference, what was really low compared with something else which was low as well. But so the Commission said, okay, low in many things or high in many things or good in things could work, but we absolutely need, at the end I will cry, I will shout to cover the voice, I'm sorry. The European Commission said, okay, you can use claim, but they absolutely need to be justified by scientific and based and supported by scientific evidence. And the first criteria, this nutrient profile, was supposed to act as a filter, saying, first, do you have the good profile? And then and only then you can bear claims. Sorry, just up. I speak, and I forget the most important. However, these nutrient profiles were not set with the publication, so at the same time as the regulation 1924, because the Commission ran out of time. It was difficult to put everything together before the adoption, the first adoption and implementation of the regulation. So according to Article 4 of the regulation, the European Commission accorded to itself a delay, a timeline until the 19th of January 29. Okay. So almost 3 years. And in order to set up these nutrient profiles, and very logically, the European Commission asked EFSA to provide it with some guidance, useful scientific inputs in order to know exactly or more precisely how to profile these nutrients, to set up these nutrient profiles. EFSA did its job very formally, because actually EFSA delivered an opinion, 2 pages if I remember well, so it was not a huge work of reflection. It was just, and again, very logically, so EFSA published its opinion in 28, so the job was done on time. It considered, EFSA so confirmed everything we already known at the time. Nutrient profile is necessary for a limited number of food groups that have important dietary roles. Okay, thank you for coming. It recommended that the choice of nutrients to be included in nutrient profiles should be driven by their public health importance for the population. Wow. And lastly, these nutrients should include saturated fatty acids, sodium, dietary fiber, unsaturated fatty acids, intakes of which generally do not comply with nutrient intake recommendations within member states, or many of them. Okay, so to be honest, I can understand that the poor European Commission, based on these not useful guidance, say, oh my God, I still have everything on the table and it's definitely up to me to set these nutrient profiles. A lasting legal uncertainty. Yes, definitely. I mentioned to Marie-Michel, it's a saga. The suspense is ongoing because 13 years after this, the beginning of the story of the nutrient profiles, yes or no, the loophole is still there. We do not have any definition of the nutrient profiles. But the regulation, I mean, is working, is used. You need to go before the European Commission, to go before the European Commission, and the European Commission forwards generally your request of a health claim to EFSA. So everything among the criteria of the regulation are used, except the first one. Personally, and for 13 years, I'm struggling. I insist. I say we should try to go before the European Court and try to put on the table the fact that this regulation is invalid on a legal point of view, because without the first criteria, how can this regulation still being used? And if some of you know the regulation, it's very difficult to get a health claim authorization, for instance. So it's a tough regulation based on the first criteria, which doesn't exist. This legal uncertainty, I'm not, of course, the only one to having mentioned the fact that without any definition of nutrient profiles, it could cause a sort of a legal uncertainty and legal issue, a small one, a slight one. The European Commission had to answer many European Parliament's questions. When will you provide the food business operators with the definition, and the consumers and everybody with the definition of the nutrient profiles? And just to stay on, to stay consistent with the regulation, never the European Commission admitted that the European Commission has given up with this definition. Or the answer was always the same, sticking to, yes, we will. Working under progress. We are on it. We are on it. Yeah, it takes time. It's a thorough and deep work and reflection. Always the same answer. And it happened sometimes, but we do not have enough time today to mention them and to go through the rulings. But sometimes, again, not following my advice, but aligned with my legal perspective, some food business operators who were rejected regarding the health claim authorization tried to use the argument of invalidity, legal uncertainty. And for many reasons, but some bypass one, the European Court of Justice rejected and didn't really analyze and didn't go deeply through this argument. So always back to square one. The Commission is working on it. There is definitely a legal uncertainty, but we cannot really act or react. To mention, I think of interest, in 2016, during the WeFit program, so the regulatory, not the regulatory, the regularity fitness and performance program, the members of the European Parliament called for the end of nutrient profiles in the EU. As you may know, the REFIT program is a sort of a washing program, trying to keep among all the regulations and all the legal texts, only the ones which were at the time really still performant, still relevant, still useful and helpful for the European market, the European operators. And so it was pertinent, in my opinion, on behalf of the European Parliament, to mention that working during 13 years at the time only eight, but working for 8 years on a definition. Are you sure it's still useful to keep this on your agenda, on your to-do list, on your punch list? So please be honest, and we'll remove, we clean, and end of the story. But it doesn't work. They reject this amendment, and so nothing was reviewed and amended into this 1924 regulation. And so the reason why I said the saga now, at the time it was 8 years, now it's 13 years. I will pass on. But, and it's coming soon, it may well be that an answer to these debates and to this up in the air question will soon be given. Soon, meaning end of this year. Why? Nothing to do with the regulation on health claim, nothing to do with any kind of work really directed and focused on the nutrient profiles. Is and I'm sure you know, the farm to fork strategy. The farm to fork strategy is such a huge project that everything is inside. It's a sort of big bag with barely 30 or 27 initiatives, some of them legal, some of them just voluntary, but anyway, it's a huge project over many years. And one of this strategy between the farm to the fork is about, and Chantal will take the floor just after me about the front of pack. It's something about the nutritional issues, the nutritional aspect, concept, everything related with sustainability. And so, it's enable sustainable food production, promote sustainable food consumption, stimulate sustainable food processing and food service practices, and reduce food loss and waste. Just again to mention, because I find that pretty funny. Among these initiatives, the European Commission has on its to-do to define what means sustainability. But it's not the first one on the list. So I say, okay, so everything is aimed to create a sustainable world. And personally, it was a relief to understand that the Commission itself doesn't understand at the time what means sustainability. I'm not the only one, and I'm not stupid. Yes. So we have to wait to get the definition of sustainable, but it's a word you have to keep in mind. Sustainable is doing an evening, a dinner, anything. You say sustainable, I work on sustainable things, and it's where I can guarantee a wow effect. But don't mention any definition. It doesn't exist at the time. But anyway, first thing on the to-do of the European Commission is to focus on nutritional issues. And so, which is clearer, it's a part of Chantal. It's Nutri-Score. I'm sure it rings a bell. Nutri-Score is the French approach of which is called front of pack labeling. Since 2016, we have now nutritional labeling, which is mandatory, but on the back of the pack. On the front of pack, it could be voluntary. And it was so much appreciated, obviously, that many national initiatives appeared, and so many that the European Commission has to react, because it is against the European harmonization. The European Commission cannot admit and keep a supposed harmonized framework as the food FIC regulations, regulation about consumer information is supposed to be an harmonized framework, okay? And now we have, regarding nutritional labeling, a lot of initiative coming from member states. So now the Commission has to react. It has decided to react among the initiative of the farm to fork strategy. Why not? It's a way like another. And so it means that before the end of this year, the Commission has strongly announced that they will propose a proposal, they will launch a proposal. So it means several weeks before Christmas. It will be our Christmas gift. We will know if our Nutri-Score, our French Nutri-Score will be the winner. Under the umbrella and the name of Nutri-Score, or will it be, and I look forward to having your insight, will it be the Nutri-Score but with a red nose under another word, another appellation, another title, just not to upset the Italian guys and the other countries? We don't know. We have not a clue, but maybe you have. Personally, I don't have. And more, darker than the proposal about regarding the Nutri-Score, we are totally in the dark regarding the proposal of the first nutrient profile definition. But it was announced. We think that it will be a sort of mix altogether, which will not review and amend the health claim regulation, but a proposal of the European Commission, which will present a nutritional front of pack labeling based on the criteria of a nutrient profile definition, but in the FIC regulation. Well, it doesn't really change the world, but it's not clear. We do not have, again, any clue. And time is flying, time is running, and so okay, maybe because of the guerre in Ukraine, it will be delayed again. I don't know. So Chantal, it's my pleasure to listen to you, and I hope you will provide us with so many so many clues and inputs that
No
I will
pressure.
learn a lot of things.
No pressure. Well, thank you already very much for this. You're perfect.